Thank you for joining Cybersecurity for Critical Infrastructure, the changing landscape of cyber attacks. In this Axiad fireside chat, we will discuss the underlying issues that leave organizations open to cyber attacks, the technologies available to protect their assets, and how to prepare for increased compliance in the future. My name is Gary Utley, Demand Gen Manager at Axiad, as well as your host, and today we are joined by John Babbidge, Chief Technology Officer at Axiad, and Nicolas Malbranche, Senior Technical Consultant at Axiad. During the presentation, feel free to ask questions. We will answer them at the end, and if we don't get to them, we'll be sure to reach out directly. So let's dive into the conversation with our first question. Recent incidents show that the impact that attacks on critical and IT infrastructures have effects beyond the organization and the public. How should IT leaders think about securing their infrastructure versus their IT infrastructure? And which aspects do they need to focus on?
Yeah, it's a big topic, Gary. I think the first thing to realize is there's really no silver bullet, right? There's many different areas to secure, and so you have to think about layers of defenses. Like securing the perimeter, securing inside your network, securing your individual systems. So it's really about defense in depth, effectively. And I think probably the second point that's most important, and it helps you understand the risks that you're really exposed to, is to assume that you shouldn't trust anything, right? You shouldn't trust, a user shouldn't trust the system that they're talking to until they've proven it. The system shouldn't trust the end user that's talking to them until they've authenticated them. And similarly, systems to systems. It's really important that we establish trust at all areas of the systems, and MFA is a core piece to that.
Yeah, and if I can build up on that, it's basically, it's the zero trust paradigm, right? You cannot trust anybody or any endpoints without a certain level of confidence, so you need to build up on really verifying every transaction when possible. And it really takes a village for security to really happen. So it takes, you really need to integrate security with your company culture and really get everybody on the same page. It's also more helpful if you make security as part of the best practice rather than something that you impose on your end users and workers. If it's really part of something that they're supposed to do their job well, then it'll be done better, and it will actually improve the security posture overall.
Great. Moving on to that. There's been a lot of discussion around authentication issues such as passwords and legacy credential systems that leave organizations really vulnerable to attacks. What would your advice to the businesses looking to update their infrastructure and move away from passwords be?
I would say start yesterday. I mean, it's really at this point, we all know that passwords are the weak link, and that's there's a whole host of technologies linked to passwords that really are the low-hanging fruits for anybody trying to get in. So it's more than time to get rid of those, and you should really start working on this and focusing on this. It's important to note that you don't have to go into this with a big bang approach. You don't have to really attack the problem from solve the problem on day one. You can really focus on the most applications are the most visible and create the most pain first, and then build up from that. So really get like a couple of early wins. It's a great way to basically also ensure support again across your end users and your workers. And then typically the passwords, you get away from them using technology like single sign-on, and those are typically technology you want to couple with things like multi-factor authentication. It's a great way to simplify your end users' experience while actually increasing security across the board.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. I think having to break down the problem and doing it in small chunks makes it much more achievable. I think it's a really massive problem to solve when you think about the number of users and the number of systems and the permutation of those two that you'd have to replace. It's quite massive, and IT orgs are really rarely staffed to brute force solve that problem by going out and guiding their end users. I think there's another piece to that really needs to be considered, and that's that you need to rather than just have IT system or administrators and staff around that organization responsible for rolling out and implementing these solutions, you really need to push it out to your end users. And of course, we all know that end users have better things to do with their day, right? IT security is really in their way typically, and so you can't really trust them to implement your security policy. So I think the programmatic enforcement of your security policies at those endpoints that really spoon feeds the end user or guides the end user through the securing of that end user's credentials is really critical to getting it implemented on time. Otherwise, you end up with this long tail of users that really don't end up changing over to the stronger credential and end up being a weak point in your security.
So my understanding is that with Axiad specifically, we help legacy applications, get rid of passwords. Can you provide a little sample of what that end user experience would look like in the applications?
Sure. I mean, so one of the technology we offer is enterprise single sign-on, and that's basically at the core a very simple technology. It's a password vault and replay solution, and the idea is that we can automate the sign-on into an application that still requires a password, but type is automated sign-on to your multi-factor authentication. It's client-based, so really we're only interacting with whatever the user is seeing. And so there's no need to change anything in whatever application you want to automate. And then, like I was saying, you can tie that to multi-factor. So make sure that you have, say, a smart card to open the session and to start the single sign-on before you actually log into an application. So in effect, you can bring into the fold of multi-factor authentication with legacy applications without having to change anything. So we think it's a good transitional tool for those applications that are highly visible, painful, but that maybe rely on older technologies or cannot be upgraded easily to newer standards like SAML or Kerberos. And so it's one of those quick wins that you can focus on at the start of an MFA deployment to get really value add for your users and your security team.
To watch the full video, click the link below to our Bright Talk channel. For more Axiad content, click subscribe.